Martin Lay, Southwest Eureka.
Welcome, Marty. We have two guests. Is Malcolm Dillon, who works for me. He was a rock star down in Guatemala. Give it up.
Yeah.
Then we have Annalise here from Mad River. No, Eureka. Sorry. Rotaract, right?
Rotary.
Rotary.
Yeah,
Thank you.
secretary.
Yes.
You look so young.
I know.
Who also is Guatemala. And then I have with us again one of my favorite people, Miss Stephanie Lane.
We have a couple guests back here from Pacific Union School, Emily, Emma, and Amy. They're going to do a little presentation on the Chipino and Wine fundraiser. Welcome.
And this is Kaden, who's joining us today.
Mary, welcome.
Jerry Mitchell from Insalai Kombucha. There we go. Our Fire Chief Justin McDonald. Our City Manager Karen Deemer. Yes, sir.
Jesse comes in without a sponsor yet.
So, moving on to recognitions here. Get that around. So, Mom, I don't know if you have something you'd like to share.
So this week I don't have any lecture or something because I played tennis the whole week. Tomorrow is going to be my first game, so it's pretty exciting. We'll see.
Cool. For the pictures. I think this recognition came from Tomas, but we got a referee.
Best referee in HTL. Yeah.
Am I getting called out? I think Arcata won. There you go. You're welcome. You're welcome.
You guys are all walking away from you.
Yeah.
It's lonely out there.
It is a little lonely out there. You guys should come watch next year because it's done now. But
Brandon's the best referee.
ask
The kids love
Patty.
him.
I see Patty all the time, and she's always there. So. Yeah.
And then this is
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I finally finished all of my core units for the MBA program. I have one class left, and so I had to sit for the exit exam, which is the national exam that they use to certify the colleges and their programs. And I realized at the last minute that I was actually on vacation in Hawaii when it was due. So I had to arrange proctoring in Hawaii while we were on vacation. So from now on, whenever we have a big test, we go to Hawaii because we got a perfect score, 300 out of 300 in top 99.9% in the nation.
Give him your money.
a big thank you to Tammy for arranging some beer and half drawings. A lot of fun. Pretty good attendance, and you're going to get your aggression up. Did quite a bit of damage to that wall. And then last weekend was the Chamber of Commerce Awards dinner. I was sifting through some of the photos that were available online, and this was the only one I could find of libertarian. But any feedback? How was it? I know that we didn't. We lost a
bunch of clowns. That's integrity. Delegate.
Congrats to them. And then I see Foster here this morning. Oh, there he is. How was your week?
Look at that face. Face only a mother could love. Except my mom. I was in Denver. We were at a 2-day travel and adventure show talking about fly from Denver International. The road flew off when I was there with the Visitors Bureau, and then the Southern Humboldt folks also had a booth. We talked to literally hundreds, if not thousands of people, but hey, have you ever been to the Redwood? Hey, have you ever been to the Redwood Show? Yeah, oh yeah. I brought a whole bunch of people home.
Thank you.
And top the highway, I heard the highway got cleaned.
We only had 4 people volunteering, so it was a lot of work, and we each had our own section, but we got it done in an hour and a half. And went to Rita's afterwards and had lunch together, so hopefully next time we can have more volunteers. It'll be May 2nd, so the Saturday before our spring fundraiser.
Put that on your calendar.
So whip it out in an hour and a half, it's not so bad,
Yeah.
if not less time.
Yeah. So the next series will be a slideshow. So if I could get the Guatemala team up here and perhaps you can
Oh, right now.
Over there. Okay. You two did this trust.
Yep, come on, Dylan.
Okay. He looks fabulous.
come up here. So this was a lot of fun. Tom and Dylan jumped right into the planning. You guys want to share your thoughts?
Look at that, Grandpa.
Grandpa was there.
It really happened in day one. We went and we had to go down this really steep hill to get to this place, and there was nothing in place. And by the end of the day, all the walls but one were built, and the place was graded, and all the concrete was poured in one day. It was an amazing task. And for 15 people, and the other groups have 25, it was brutal and really wonderful. It was so manual. The bucket brigade, I don't know how many, 500 buckets of sand, or water and everything had to be hauled from all over and over things and around, and it was so exhausting. The bruises on people, it was grueling, and oh my God, but rewarding.
So are you trying to get people to go with you now?
It gets better.
So I made a post like when I came back, and I just like put some pictures out of our team and everything, and I'm writing the caption. I'm like, this is like the best experience I've had like traveling, and I'm just like, it's amazing. And I'm like, wow, I'm not just like Facebook flexing. This is like literally an amazing trip. I just, since I've been back, I've been telling everybody like, next year go, like you need to go. It's life-changing. It's awesome. I just thought it was an incredible experience. We all became like a little family, and like I was like, it's like a summer camp for adults is what it was. It was really cool.
Hot showers would have been nice.
I
guess it was summer camp.
And then day 2 was just throwing up the walls, doing the siding. By the end of the day, this is the end of the day, day 2. The house is mostly together. And I mean, the roof is on, and next day we had to come in and fill some things, do the interior walls, pull the electrical, and we did that, and we were done by 1 p.m. We were sitting down to lunch. And yeah.
And then it's amazing that nobody got hurt with how much we were crawling over each other and all of the power tools and the lifting, and it was like this tornado chaos. I don't know how else to explain it, but.
You said you put in electrical. How did that work?
Oh, the stained glass, the knot holes looked like stained stained glass in the sun.
Roaming.
Can you let people know who the recipient is and how that was chosen?
The recipient is a young family. So you saw a picture of an older man, a gentleman with a hat on. That's Grandpa, and he had this plot. His family was there, and it is really remote.
Yeah.
And he, it's so remote. We said, "Oh, well, can we mail him something?" And David, the person handing, goes, "There's no addresses. I mean, they're so out there. There's, you know, they get one line for power, and it feeds the house, and that's about it."
The church.
For the church,
It
or
selects the
Casa,
family.
or Casa. Casa does go out, they pick the families, they've been vetted maybe like 2 years, and they have to wait, and they don't believe it. I mean, they just, in his, when we handed the house over, and he spoke, there was this emotional speech, and how he didn't believe it, and they were very religious, and they prayed, it's like, I just, you know, I never thought this would happen, and then, I mean, it was amazing.
For 2 years, they've been preparing. They had to prep the site, get the materials mobilized, go through all the permit process and all that, the application process beforehand. But it was 2 years from when they applied to the day we showed up. And they're used to having broken promises and disappointment and corruption and things fall through. And so for us to show up, this army of blue t-shirts, and in 2.5 days do this, it was just shocking for them, I think. Yeah.
When we see the family and the reaction.
Anyway, thanks for
Very
everything.
rewarding.
Yeah.
Thank you, AJ.
So if you do have any recognitions, please send it to ARCS. So a few upcoming events. So thank you to Mike for signing up as a judge for History Day tomorrow. I don't know if I don't imagine we need any takers, but come check it out.
I think we're good now.
Yeah. On March 7th, the North Coast Environmental Center has their fundraiser at the Bayside Community Hall. So it's 5 to 9, and it kind of competes with the next event, but if you want to support North Coast Environmental Center, there's an opportunity. And I think I'll turn it over to Emma and Emily in the back. They have something to say about the Chipino and Vine fundraiser. Oh, Vino.
Still jet lagged.
I'm Emma Martin, and I'm a graduate, and your 8th grade is at Pacific Union School. We belong to Pacific Union and appreciate all the academics the school's provided, especially the extra activities that our PTO helps provide, such as art festivals, garden projects, and movie nights. We really know about an amazing community dinner our PTO and 8th grade parents are hosting next Saturday, March 7th at their Gated Community Center called Chipino and Vino. Dave Oliveira from Second Village is the Chipino family recipe, and it's going to be regular vineyard wines and local beers. There is live jazz during dinner and a fun and African dance after the live and silent auctions. We have been told this is a fun and local resource. The funds will be used for a variety of different things, such as to complete a track building project the PTO has been working on for the past 3 years. The project will include a track with a soccer field, as well as a partnership with Fast Pitch Softball to provide a softball field for the school communities. In addition to the track and field projects, the funds will be used to provide enrichment activities that are outside the normal school budget, such as a mural project, hiring program, and arts opportunities such as hiring professional artists to work with students at school. But most importantly for us, 50% of the money raised will be used to send our 8th grade students on an end-of-the-year class trip. Every year, the students at Pacific Union look forward to 3 days of enriching educational experience with their classmates that they are not available in our rural community, such as the Academy of Sciences, the Exportorium, and Alcatraz, and a professional theater production. This trip is a culmination of our 9 years of Pacific Union that we'll remember for a lifetime. We love our school, and we hope you consider making a donation to our PTO education fund or purchasing a table at our event. The tickets are $40 each, or a table of 8 for $400, which includes 2 bottles of wine, music glasses, 2 sheets of Dutch coffee tickets, and a business card.
We have some tickets today, but they're also available at libraries or by copy Civic Union front office. Childcare is provided by the Civic Union staff and 8th grade students alone.
We appreciate your service to our community and for allowing us the time to speak to you today. Any questions?
Thank you.
Maggie, do you want to do a quick plug for your
Nope,
volunteer?
it's up there and.
And save the date.
I'm really excited for my art show coming up Friday the 13th at the Griffin. And I just got confirmation that Lorna Bryant is actually going to DJ, and then Goldilocks is going to go on afterwards at 9. So we're going to have a champagne or celebratory toast at 8 o'clock, starts at 6, and then the toast is at 8. So yeah, you're all welcome. Hope to see you.
Yay. Speed dating event, it's also in the email, so give that a look over. We want to have it's an opportunity if you're new to the club to kind of get to know your different committees and see if you can land in one and get things going this year and Maggie's year.
And you haven't all gotten that yet, but you'll get it in the next few days.
Little plug for the training sometime. Yeah, I'm sure you've gotten the email invitations, so just check it out. If you want to hear from the Eureka Noon or selling tickets, the Eureka Noon fundraiser, but it's also a good time.
I have tickets to the White Festival, $60. I also have raffle tickets. You can win into it to Costa Rica. So see me.
So before we jump into quick final Friday, we're going to run the raffle.
Just another quick announcement. Taste of Spring is right around the corner, May 1st. First committee meeting. I know it's a super late notice, so if you can't make it, it's okay. I can drink alone. Tuesday. It's a joke. You're supposed to laugh. Tuesday at 5:30 at the Griffin, just like we always usually meet. So if you have been on the committee and can even just stop by for a second, just kind of refresh my memory of what we did last year. That's also a joke. Just kidding. And if you're new and you just can't wait for the speed dating and you'd like a date with me, that's fine too. So Tuesday 5:30. Check your email. I want fire.
I got a quick one too, while we're on events. Fieldbrook Fire is putting on a chili feed on the 7th, so I happen to have tickets. It's a great time, lots of good chili, all you can eat.
Oh, thanks, Cam. Raffle ready? No?
Raffle.
Karen, do you want to say something while we wait for raffle?
Yeah, so my quick minute right here. So you guys have an action-packed morning. 3 things, updates from the city. The first is coming up Wednesday night. The council will review for their first official time the new open door health clinic that will be going up in the North County area. So an exciting project approved by the Planning Commission last week, and moving forward, probably take them 3 meetings to get through just all the technical pieces that they need to, but hopefully approval by April 1st. Second, the Plaza Improvement Task Force report is out. If you haven't seen it, I would urge you to jump on to our website and just take a look at it. There are a listed 25 priority recommendations that the council will actually be further prioritizing this next Wednesday in terms of how to spend some initial money they set aside, and then areas that they'd like us to prioritize in next year's budget. And then third, I am here if you have questions. I'm not going to go into detail this morning, but the city did release the National Police Foundation report on the investigation of sort of the first 72 hours of the David Josiah Lawson murder that was out almost 3 years ago. It's a hard read, but I do encourage our community to read it. We have work to do within our police department, and we also have very brave, compassionate men and women that serve every day. So please feel free to call if you have questions, and I'd be happy to talk about it further at another date.
All right, first one we got is 768-073. 768-073.
Second round. 768-078.
Oh, let's see it again.
Lucky table.
One way. She's gonna get it. She's gonna get it. Feel the power. Come on, Terry, you got this. Yeah! That's a big bet.
I have my eye on this, so I just. Okay, this is going to be the speed dating version of Final Friday. Only money changes hands, which is unlike speed dating, I think. I'm not sure. Oh wait, children in the room. Sorry. Okay, this is from Melinda, and I love this. Do you want to?
Yeah, it's the coronavirus emergency kit. I made this elderberry syrup from local elderberries, so you have this. This is about like $50 worth. It's like, it's good for, you know, before you're getting sick or if you are sick, but you can also put on pancakes and stuff. And then, of course, emergency, we got hand sanitizer and
And for the winter, I will offer, I have a used face mask in my car. I can bring out at it because you can't even buy those anymore.
I know, they were out everywhere.
So even a used one is better than nothing. I'm going to start this at 100. Do I have 100? Do I have 100?
Come on, people, you need this stuff.
I'll take it. All right, got Patty at 100. Do I have 110? Oh, who's coughing over here? 110. We got 100 to Patty going once and going twice. Sold to Patty.
Okay, so, you know, in keeping with, we're a morning club who drinks, Dick Johnson has donated a lovely bottle of tequila and a $50 gift certificate to Oaxaca Grills.
And I can also put a face mask in this one.
Used, though it is.
Yes. Used. Yeah, because Patty, you didn't really want that, did you? So I can pass it on.
Yeah, you can pass
Okay.
I'll make the second.
So we'll start this at 100 as well. Do I have 100? Anybody? 100 bucks? 100 bucks? We got 100 at Chris. Do I have 110? Anybody? 110? Do I have 110? I have 100. We're going to sell it for 100 to Chris. Thank you, Chris. By the way, those of you who think 100 is too much, we have $20 t-shirts up here. You could be part of the epic team that went to Guatemala without all the work. You can wear the shirt and act like you went. Oh, these are all clean.
Okay, this is from Sophie, thank you very much. And you won't be surprised that it's more alcohol. But it has a St. Patrick's Day theme, not a virus that can kill you. I don't know if St. Patrick's is a virus. I know. Jameson, Baileys, and Guinness. Everything you need to make Irish car bombs. Skittles, taste the rainbow. Thin Mints, 4 lottery scratchers, you could win thousands. And gold pretzel chocolate kisses. Very nice.
And
very good.
Face mask.
And it is face mask.
It is face mask.
All right. Well, I'm going to bid 130 on it.
All right, you got 130.
Because
That's what she won. Come on, guys. Anybody else? 140 to Lori. Do I have 150? 150, anybody? 150?
I'll go 150.
150?
I only have 130.
Yeah. But if you don't bid 150, you won't have
$20. Yeah, I'll give you another 20.
There we go, because if you don't bid 150, you won't spend your 130.
Okay, now I have 150.
All right, we got 150 carry. Want to sell it to Terry for 150? Going once? Going twice? Sold to Terry for 150. And that's all we have today.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning, Randy.
So, about 3 years ago, I was sitting in this room, minding my own business, eating my Rotary breakfast, when the new fire chief came into the room to introduce himself. And as I'm sitting there spooning in eggs, he said that he was shy a board seat for the North Arcata Fire Protection District is set up into different divisions. And he's looking around the room and he goes, "You." Anyway, he knew where I lived. So I ended up becoming a board member on his board, the Arcata Fire Protection District, and it's sort of become my Rotary Super Committee since then. So walking in the door, they said, well, guess what? You know, we have a budget shortfall. We have a terrible budget deficit. Well, I just left a budget deficit from when I was with the city. And it's like, oh no. So long story short, I said, well, I'm not going for any tax initiative. I've lived in Arcata for 40 years. I'm not going to go for a tax initiative until, you know, you can prove to me that everything is in order. And I'll tell you, the last 3 years, our Fire Chief Justin McDonald, he's done an exceptional job. The board's done an exceptional job. And I can look at you all in the eye and say that the Arcata Fire Protection District is completely transparent. Every penny is accounted for, and we are in desperate need to keep open a fire station, to not close it. So this morning, Justin is going to talk about Measure R, which is the tax initiative to basically save, R for rescue, to save the Arcata Fire Protection District from having to lay off firefighters and closing the station. So, brief bio for Justin. He's a 5th generation Humboldt County native. He's been with Arcata Fire since 1994. Started as a volunteer firefighter and worked 7 years later. Started 7 years later with the career firefighter staff. His roots in the community run deep. His great uncle Rollo Guthridge sat on the district board many years in the late 70s. His dad Dennis McDonald became a board member shortly after he joined as a volunteer in the late 90s. His brother Ross was a volunteer and is now a career captain in the Fire Protection District. And he's held every position in the volunteer organization, and from the ranks and engineer, fire captain, to the battalion chief officer and operations assistant chief. And in 2016, he tested and became the 33rd fire chief of the Arcata Fire Protection District for the organization, which is 136 years old. I'm talking fast. Justin, take it away.
Very much. Is it just down arrow goes?
Down arrow, you have the go to, the right arrow.
Red arrow. Okay, cool. All right, thanks, Randy. And I think you were sitting in the same spot when It was good. I started as a 19-year-old parking officer, and Randy was my boss. We just come full circle. Randy's my boss again. Right? So I'm here to talk about Measure R, but I'm going to do a real quick speed talk on who we are. Because the one thing that we found is we got out in the community that we have two really big misnomers. One is the name of our organization, Arcata Fire District, and the other misnomer is the name of the title that we wear is firefighters. So hopefully we can kind of clear that up real quick, and then we'll go to what Measure R is. That's the right button. There we go. We'll do it that way. The fire district is a single-purpose special district, and it's independent of the county of Humboldt, and Karen can attest, we're independent of the city of Arcata, meaning I don't get money from the city manager's office through the general budget. Same thing with the county. We have 5 elected board members that each represent a populous area of our fire district. And we're here to provide critical emergency life-saving fire protection services to the 5 main communities that we represent: McKinneyville, Manila, Bayside, Jacoba Creek, and the city of Arcata. The fire department started in 1884. We burned the town down. The community went, this is not a good idea. So a bunch of local folks got together and started their pocket brigade, kind of disbanded. Took a couple times, the town burned down a couple times, and finally the volunteer fire department stuck. In about 1944, the fire district came into existence because the city volunteer fire department was starting to provide fire service to outside the city limits, which is good for city. So the fire district came into existence, and we kind of ran co-fire departments at the same time until about 1974, when the city of Arcata said, hey, you know what, you guys are doing a bang-up job. It's all you, and the city got out of the fire business. So from about 70s, the fire district, Arcata Fire District, has been here to provide fire protection and emergency services. Who are we? This one has a lot of clicks. Let's get down. This is my organization. One fire chief, that's me, and then everything else, our on-duty staffing is divisible by 3. We're a 24-hour, 7-day a week, 365-day operation. We run 3 shifts, 48 hours on, 96 hours off, in a perfect world. When we're at minimum staffing like we are now, the schedule is actually flip-flop. I have people working 72-hour shifts, upwards of 96-hour shifts, and 2 days off. So 18 career firefighters, again, cut that into 3, that's our shifts. 3 battalion chiefs, those are our shift supervisors. In law enforcement world, that's the watch commander, that's the person in charge, the supervising officer. 1 full-time business manager, and we have 3 part-time prevention staff. I can't afford full-timers, part-timers are cheap. 1 is our fire marshal, and we have 2 inspectors that are out doing our state-mandated inspections for apartment complexes. The state of California mandates certain inspections. Apartment complexes are one. We have over 4,000 individual apartment units in our fire district. We're a college town. We've got a lot of apartment complexes. That's what those 2 inspectors are out there doing. Every year we have to get out and inspect those properties. As far as the volunteers, we have 15 volunteers. 4 are volunteer firefighters. 11 are logistics volunteers. Logistics volunteers are community members that want to help. They don't want to do the dangerous stuff, and they don't want to put the time in to be in volunteers. A volunteer firefighter takes upwards of about 200 to 400 hours to get your basic training done. On top of that, you need your emergency medical training. That's another 150 hours through CR or Humboldt State. So that's your first year. And then we require time to come in and train and time to come in and be on the engine. It's a huge time commitment. We recruited out of Humboldt State. We got in 50 students that would come in. They thought it was great until they saw the fine print and what was required. They went, oh my God, this is way too much. Our average lifespan of a volunteer in the organization has gotten down to 1.5 years. Our investment doesn't return until 3 years. Your first year, you're so new, you don't know what you're doing. You're kind of in the training. Your second year, we're really honing the skills. By third year, you're going good. 1.5, they're in, they're out, and it's Groundhog's Day, if you will. The 2 firefighter interns, this is a new program. Fire academies, they pump out graduates. One thing they need to get their firefighter certificate is experience. I've got experience waiting for people. So we have 2 firefighter interns. They come fully trained. All they need is my signature on their experience card. So after 6 months, they get their experience. I actually worked out well because our very first intern, I hired him. It's a training program. Hey, you want a job? I know you. You get along. So it worked out really well. Our daily staffing, 1 duty chief, 1 of these 3 battalion chiefs, 6 firefighters spread out through our fire district, 62 square miles, and we have 3 stations, the Arcata Station, Mad River Station, and the McKinneyville Station. One more. There you go. This is our team. So we're not fire engines, we're not brand new fire stations. Thank you, by the way, to your club for all your help over the years to get our fire station built. This is our team. These are the folks that roll out to go on the emergencies. These are the folks that show up at 2 in the morning. Not a one can you tell, are they volunteer or are they career, right? We all dress the same, we all look the same. This is one of my #1 volunteers. This is David Howard. He's been with our organization about 9 years. He's a 7th grade elementary school teacher out of Freshwater. He's doing the job just like Angie, our first paid female firefighter. She's now a fire captain in our organization. Mr. Photogenic, Sean Campbell, one of our battalion chiefs. I equate our crew, and it's a little, I had to prop them up a little bit. This is infrastructure. The people are the infrastructure. If you don't have the people to go on the calls, it's no different than the sidewalks, it's no different than street lights, it's no different than the pipes that bring you water. If you don't have good infrastructure in your community is going to start falling apart. We have to have good infrastructure. We have to have firefighters to go on calls to help out. So I really think that our essential services, these folks are the infrastructure. Hugely critical. The other the misnomer that we've talked about is the 5 communities that we serve. We're more than Arcata. I can't tell you how many times we've been out to Manila and they're like, what's Arcata doing here? And we're up in McKinleyville and they go, where's the McKinleyville Fire Department? That's us. 5 communities, McKinleyville, Manila, Arcata, Bayside, Jacoby Creek. We've got a new little moniker, 531. 5 communities, 3 fire stations, 1 district. So trying to incorporate that. A name change is expensive, redoing the logo is not, and trying to get that information out to folks is what we're working on. This is our fire district, one of the largest fire districts in the county, 62 square miles. We go from Indianola all the way up to Clam Beach, in between the 2 parking lots of Clam Beach. Halfway out to Blue Lake, and in Manila we go all the way over where the bridge hits the sand on the other side. That's our fire district. South of that is Somona. So we have a vast area. We have a hospital, the county commercial airport, Humboldt State University, about 37,000 residents in our fire district. So it's a pretty diverse area that we represent and that we cover. Misnomer #1, more than just Arcata, our 5 communities that we represent. The other misnomer is our mission, our name, firefighters. Back in the old days, that's all we did. We went out and put out fires. We have changed a lot since then. Calls for service has nearly doubled in the last 2 decades. 1996, that date I'll come back to in a minute. We did 1,232 incidents. In 2006, another significant date, 1,750. And then when I made the PowerPoint, we didn't have the 19 stats yet. In 2018, we have over 3,357 incidents. So what is going on? This number, 1996, was when the community passed our first special tax. It was roughly $300,000. There's no inflation factor on that tax. It's about $350,000, 300 to 350. It's not that much. In 2006 was the next time that the fire district got a benefit assessment passed. That one came in, it was about $1.9 million. Our call volume since then has ballooned, and that's partly because our community is changing, it's increasing, the population has increased, more densities. We do more than fight fires. We respond to life-threatening medical emergencies, vehicle accidents, hazmat spills, alarm activations, lift assists. The other things that we do, aside from going on emergency runs, are public education, safety inspections, and many other public service needs. A couple things to touch on real quick. Everybody's like, what's a lift assist? This is help, I've fallen and I can't get up. This, I mean, you hear it about the lifeline. Well, they don't tell you on the other end of the lifeline who comes out and helps you. If you don't have a family member that can help you, or if your family member is not able to help you, you call 911. Fire department is tasked with coming out there and helping people back up, put them in bed, put them back in their chair. Vehicle accidents. Well, I get the question all the time, why is the fire engine always coming on? Vehicle accidents, there's, you don't need to go there. You're coming on EMS calls. Why are you doing that? Little known fact, there are 2 ambulances on duty for the north part of the county, from Indianola to the county line at Del Norte, halfway to Willow Creek. 2 ambulances. I have 3 fire stations strategically located throughout our fire district. Our average response time is about 5 minutes. We are seeing now ambulances taking longer to get to our area. They're coming out of Eureka. So if you're having an emergency, somebody there within 5 minutes or somebody there within 10 or 15 minutes. So that's the point, is we are first responders to get there first. Car accidents, we're the ones that have the specialized tools, the jaws of life, to cut the car apart, to get people out of the car. We see two things. Cars nowadays are great. They get mashed up, you roll up and you're like, oh my God, it's terrible. Everybody gets out, seat belts and airbags. Conversely, when the people don't get out, the cars are so mangled up, it takes us to use those specialized tools to get the people out. So specialized tools that we have, those are the calls. Public education, our firefighters are out in the schools educating the school kids on 911, on what to do in case of a fire, in case of emergency. Safety inspections, our engine companies, I've got our crews going out into the community. It's not an enforcement action, but we're looking at kind of just the generalized public safety. Our exits locked, our fire extinguishers charged, their sprinkler systems been serviced, all those other public safety needs. The other big one that we've been working on, we've been working hand in hand with law enforcement on active shooter. Everybody thinks, oh my God, it's not going to happen. And bang, just the other day we had something back in Milwaukee. I mean, it's craziness. We just purchased bulletproof vests for our firefighters. I've been in this job for 27 years. And I'm like, what is this world coming to? But it's just part of, we got to be safe so that we can go in there and help folks out. A little bit more on our call volume. 46% of what we do is rescue and EMS. 5% is fires. 25% are service calls. This is when you call 911, they ask you really what's your emergency. If it's not law enforcement driven, and you don't need an ambulance to take you to the hospital, most of the time it's the fire department that gets tasked with coming out and helping. We are, for lack of a better term, we're professional problem solvers, and the big red fire engine is a toolbox on wheels. So when somebody's having an issue, somebody's having a bad day, they call 911. We'll roll out, we'll help out, we'll at least get them pointed in the right direction, and you know, we've had water pipes burst, we can help start sucking up water, and then you can get a plumber to come out and start helping you. So 2 misnomers, again, our name and the title we wear. Yeah, we're firefighters, but we're more of that community safety professional, is probably a better term for who we are. What is Major R? It's a special tax proposed by the fire district. Screaming right up next week, it'll be on the March ballot. Unique thing about a special tax, it requires 2/3 majority vote. The general tax, much like Measure Z that the county put out, required 50%. It can be used for anything that the county sees fit. Because this is specifically for fire protection and emergency services, it requires a 2/3 majority vote. This tax will replace the 1997 tax that's currently on people's tax bill, and it would generate $2.2 million. That's overall. What we're asking for a Major R is about a $1.9 million increase, and I'll get to that in a minute. The other thing that we found out, taxpayers want control over their tax dollars. So our previous 2 taxes that we had were open-ended. There was no cost of living adjustments on it, but they were open-ended. The things that we saw and the feedback that we got, people want to be able to hold us accountable to our actions and the tax dollars. So it's coming with a 10-year sunset clause. If we didn't do what we said, in 10 years the community has the ability to say, we're not funding this, and you got to do it again. What's the purpose? Well, ultimately the purpose is so we can respond quickly to emergencies, but we do that by, amazing, Major R matches up with our 3 bullet points. Retain 2 firefighters on duty at our 3 stations and 1 battalion chief supervisor. It'll restore 3 frozen vacant positions. We currently have 3 positions that we have frozen due to no funds to pay them. And we're losing people. In fact, I'm losing 3 more. This month I had a retirement and 2 firefighters are leaving the area. Economic instability in our organization tends to make people a little antsy, and poof, off they go to find jobs elsewhere. So right now I have 3. At the end of this week, I'll have 2 more vacant positions. The other thing we've done, the board, as Randy said, I was tasked with trying to get us back into the black. The board had opted not to do layoffs at that point. What we were doing was pulling money out of our contingency funds, which is our vehicle replacement and major repair funds. We've taken that out, so I have very little money to deal with repair and replacement. For example, our ladder truck had an issue with the stabilizers that make the platform go flat when you're up in the air. It was a $16,000 expenditure. It's one of those pieces of equipment you gotta have. It's $1 million, and when you need it, you really need it. And you have to repair it. And anything that says fire or rescue is frightfully expensive to deal with on repairs. Our justification, it's been 13 years since the district secured an increase in funding, back to that 2006 benefit assessment. Our two taxing mechanisms, the assessment and the tax, have no inflationary factors, and they really haven't grown that much. Because if it was a residential structure on the property when the tax was passed, that dollar amount stays the same for the last 13 years. The growth that we see is thanks to guys like Jim Furtado up in McKinleyville that are putting in neighborhoods. A horse pasture or a cow pasture that pays minimal turns into 50 houses. We'll see a little bit of growth there, and we see a little bit of growth on the county property tax. We get 6 cents for every $100 in value that the county collects from somebody's property tax. So we get about 1.2 roughly $1 million from the county property tax, and our special tax and whatnot generates another about $1.5 million. In an effort to prevent station closures and layoffs, our board has opted to reduce our operational expenditures for the last 3 fiscal cycles. And part of that was, again, like I said, we've deferred maintenance, we've pulled money out of our contingency funds to make sure that we can keep our stations open and staffed. This is the last fiscal cycle that we can do that. Our deficit this year, we projected about $250,000. We're upwards of about $270,000. So why are we asking for $2.2 million or $1.9 million increase? A fire station costs about $1.5 million to operate. So we're looking for a $1.9 million increase to cover that cost. And that little bit of a buffer is to start putting back into our vehicle replacement fund and our contingency fund. If the roof blows off of our Mad River station, it's going to be, tarps and buckets to hold the water. We just don't have that ability to take care of our infrastructure. Another little point to bring up is tax versus fire insurance. This has been an interesting thing over the last few years. We've had some major wildland fires, which has had impact on fire insurance in the state of California. What we're finding out is insurance companies don't want to insure people in California anymore. And they're looking for any reason to either jump ship, raise your rates, or not renew you. What we see is all the fire departments in California are graded by the Insurance Service Office. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the best that you can be, 10 being you have no fire protection. If you are in an area that's 10, you get no fire insurance. 1 is LA City, LA County, big municipal department, lots of people, able to handle all their incidents. Our agency has been a 3, and the reason why we were a 3 is about 7 years ago, we received a couple federal grants that were able to bring our staffing up to the level that we have right now. The grants went away, the rules changed, they wanted more money as far as a grant match, we just couldn't do it. The fire district attempted Measure A didn't pass, and we're now doing that reboot. What we're trying to do is keep the staffing, because staffing equals a better grade from the insurance rating at a 3. If we lose our staffing, our fire department is going to be downgraded to a 4, possibly to a 5. That kind of a hit to the insurance grade is going to have a direct impact on people's fire insurance. What they're telling us is it's not going to be immediate, but you're going to see it down the road if you go to renew, or if you're trying to get new insurance, especially out in the more rural areas, the insurance companies may not do it. There is a fallback, it's called California Fair Plan. Nothing about it is fair. From what I could do my research to a couple of our local insurance agents, just for fire insurance portion alone, it's upwards of $900 to $8,000 for fire insurance only, and you still have to get your liability coverage. And it's essentially the equivalent to earthquake insurance. If you gotta have it, you gotta have it and you pay for it, but it really is super expensive. So my point is, if we invest in our organization in the fire department, we can try to keep our grades, our rating from the Insurance Bureau the best that we can, so we can keep folks' fire insurance as low as possible. Again, I can't dictate what fire insurance premiums are going to do, but we can do everything we can to hold up our end of the bargain. And by doing so, it'll ultimately ensure that we have a rapid response for emergency medical and fire. So the big question is, what's it going to cost? Major R is based on a property use, and it's billed to the property owner. An empty lot for Major R is $30 annually, or $2.50 a month. A residence, Major R is $118. A rural residence is an area that is not protected by a fire hydrant. So if you live in an area that has greater than 700 feet distance to the fire hydrant, we have to bring specialty equipment. We have a giant water truck, brings 3,000 gallons of water along with our fire engines. It costs more to go deal with fires out in the rural area. It's $192 annually. Commercial properties are $546 annually. Again, commercial properties takes a lot more equipment to deal with a fire than a residential fire. Right across the way we have Big Blue Cafe. Holy cow. Every fire chief prior to me always talked about the east side of the plaza. It was the only side of the plaza that didn't have a fire. But it was also the only side of the plaza that had a big, huge common subfloor area. Ran from the mattress shop all the way down to Heartbeats. Wide open. On my watch, the call comes in, the Big Blue's on fire. I'm like, ooh, this is not good. Our track record for major fires in downtown Arcata has been a little wonky. Fireworker Building, Hensel's Ace Hardware, Environmental Center, that was my fire. I was on duty that night at the Mad River Station. Horrendous fires, burning to the ground, Barnes Drugs on the corner. Those properties sat vacant. Heck, the Environmental Center sat vacant for years. I'm not knocking a volunteer response. The old days, 11th Street was like I-5, it was busy. It takes time. It takes 8 minutes, 9 minutes to get a crew staffed up and out the door to go on a fire. Since we've had staffing in downtown Arcata, we've been able to jump on fires like Big Blue Cafe. We got it early and got it out. The Arcata Presbyterian Church, the same thing. We had a fire on the exterior. If it would have taken 5 minutes to get there, the outcome would have been totally different. Tomo's Restaurant, a fire in around the fish tank. We were able to have crews in there within 2 minutes to put the fire out. So I'd like to think having available staff on duty ready to go makes a huge difference to put those, keep those fires in check. Major R would be in addition to our 2006 benefit assessment. So here's some quick math. 97 tax is $20 for a residence. If Major R goes through, it repeals the tax. We're keeping the same dollar amount, the 20. We're adding $98 to it. So it would become the $118 is what Major R is asking. Again, it's in addition to the 2006 benefit assessment, that's $88. So for a single family resident annually, it's $206 for fire protection. If you want to know more about what other properties, I have those and we can talk afterwards. Here's this in a nutshell. What happens if it fails? We go from 7 on duty, 6 firefighters and 1 chief officer, down to 4. It has the following effects. One of our 3 stations would close. 3 battalion chief positions are going to be eliminated, and 6 firefighter positions eliminated, and employee layoffs. It's really easy to put it into pictures. This is our on-duty staffing right now. 2 on each fire engine, 1 chief officer. The industry standard, right across the bay at Humboldt Bay Fire, they have 3 people on each fire engine and a chief officer. The national standard, 4 people on a fire engine and a chief officer. I'm not asking for national. I'm not asking for what our neighbors have. I just want to keep what we have. Because if not, this is who's coming to your fire in downtown Arcata or downtown McKinneyville. this is not enough people to deal with. By the way, it takes 14 firefighters to deal with a simple residential structure fire. How do you get more information? Come to our website, www.arcadafire.org. Give me a call. As you can tell, I like to talk, sorry. Email me, or if you really want to get them, our 5 board members, first initial, last name at arcadafire.org. You all know Randy, you know where to find him. You know, reach out. My goal with this is to present the information, so when it comes time to vote, people make an educated decision, you know. There's some misnomers out there that we can do it with volunteers, we can do it with a training center and all of that. I'd love to talk about it, but clock says we're out of time, Jeff. So.
Be available afterwards for questions.
Yeah.
On behalf of, or before presenting, on behalf of the Wheelchair Foundation, I'd like to present you a appreciation. So,
thank you.
Thank you very much.